I'm going to call the meeting to order. Good to see everybody. Wish it was under different circumstances, but glad to be back with you. A couple things that I want to cover. I'm killing a little time here because the bill is not ready. Looks like I see Missy heading this way with copies of the bill. I've given each of you a summary that the Lieutenant Governor just provided to me a few minutes ago. Should be information concerning what we call the Back to Business Act that we passed earlier, the possibility for modifications and what it will mean financially. So as you have a few minutes, I think we will have a few minutes to take a look at that. Also, I wanted to introduce to you, most of you know, Chris Graham, our former Senate budget analyst, has been selected by the governor to be the head of the Department of Revenue, our new Commissioner of Revenue. And Chris did an unbelievable job here, as you know, and was a wealth of information. And he's going to do great at the Department of Revenue, so we wish him the best. But I've got his new and our able assistant Corbin Stanford. Many of you have worked with Corbin before on your budget for your agencies. And I'm excited Corbin has moved into this slot and looking forward to working with him for the next many years. So y'all, when you get a chance, say hello to Corbin, thank him for stepping into this role. And also, as you need information, I mean, we're not going to be in, hopefully not in session right now, but if you need information throughout the year from the Senate, LBO staff, Corbin's your guy, and he can help you out. Certainly continue to deal with your agency, LBO staff member, your particular agency. They're going to have, they should have the most and the best information, but he can help you if you need to navigate some of the minefields and appropriations. Corbin will be the first to help you out. So with that said, I think I saw Missy walk back there. Y'all just take your time to look over this sheet for right now, and we'll take the bill once she brings it to us. Missy, what's our, they're still in printing. We haven't had an idea about how much longer. 5 more minutes. Just by way of head nod or hand, where's Senator Harkins? I just saw him. Senator Harkins will explain this bill when we get to it. If he wants to, does anybody have an objection to if we can find Senator Harkins before the bill's printed, hearing from him, and then get the bill, or would you rather wait? Would you rather wait on the bill? I'll leave it up to the members. If you want to wait, I'm happy to wait. Okay. Anybody got an objection to Senator Harkins when he's ready, explaining the proposal, and then you may get a copy of the bill after that? Right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Senator Harkins is here, and I think he's going to provide us an explanation. You should all have a copy of the bill, Senate Bill 3053, and I'll recognize Senator Harkins at this time to explain the measure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and ladies and gentlemen, this is kind of a summary of the bill, and there's actually a couple of other 2 or 3 issues that popped up this morning that we're going to probably have to make an amendment on the floor. And I'll kind of give you the best of a description of that as I can to make you kind of aware of what we're going to do. But in this bill, we're basically doing a little bit of housekeeping to make some changes and some tweaks to the plan that's existing already. One of the first ones we're going to make is in Section 2 of Section 1. This is amends the DFA's authorization to receive budget and escalate no more than $50 million in DFA CARES Act money for the 2021 fiscal year. This is the governor's pot of money, and basically it was just, it had last fiscal year for them to do stuff with. So this is going to actually include this fiscal year that we're in now for him to be able to utilize that money. In Section 3 of Section 1, I believe it's on lines 87 through 93. These numbers line up. It amends to remove the necessary expense and insert necessary cost, and to include language clarifying that the $2,000 direct payment. If you remember correctly, we had 2 forms of payment. One was a $2,000 direct payment by the NAICS code that went directly to the business. They didn't have to apply for it. Well, unbeknownst to us, this also had a conflict with being a double dip, so to speak, and it made them eligible for the $25,000 grant. We were removing that and making this where this $2,000 grant does not have any bearing on the $25,000 and prevent them from applying for it and receiving those funds. So basically it just says that it amends, remove necessary expense and insert necessary cost, and to include language clarifying the $2,000 direct payment shall be separate and distinct from the expense that is reimbursable under the Back to Business Grant Program. This language was suggested by NDA to ensure the NDA will not deduct $2,000 direct payment from the eligible grant award amount. Section 3 of Section 1, line 9798, increase the base payment under the Back to Business program from $1,500 to $3,500. You've seen the letter from MBA talking about most of the applications, I believe, have been an application for the base payment. Didn't provide any other documentation for expenses. They just basically applied for the base payment, and what this would do would give them a larger base payment. And that portion of the do this fix bring the, according to, let me get my paper here, from the base pay $1,500 to $3,500, this in effect would drive the fund up from $82 million, and it's going to take it all the way up to $163 million based on the applications that are submitted today. This is also taking into effect that they are removing the clause that says that if you got PPP, we're going to deduct up to half of your amount you're eligible for. So if somebody was eligible for $25,000 and they received PPP for, say, $30,000, remember, we would only deduct up to half of what they were going to get. This will actually fund the rest of that 50% that we held. And this base payment increase would take the fund of what right now MBA is saying that based on the application submitted, if all of them that applied were eligible, right now it would be $82 million. We'll taking these two considerations under advisement, it would take it from $82 million to $163 million. And so basically there'd still be a cushion in the fund for any new applications that would be coming, but that's two of the proposals that we're making in this legislation. In Section 4 of Section 1, this is where we're going to be adding some NAICS codes. The codes that we're adding, I think, are 311811 retail bakeries. One of the ones that didn't make it, we'll be making this adjustment on the floor, and an amendment is 487210. Scenic sightseeing, transportation on water, including charter boats. We're doing 7113, motor performing arts, sports, and similar events. 7223, specialty food services, including caterers. And 7224, drinking places, alcoholic beverages, including bars. Section 7 of Section 1 amends to add the MBA shall not consider applications filed after September 15, 2020. The application deadline will allow an opportunity to consider the amount of unobligated funds prior to an October signing date. So if we come back in October, the deadline will allow MBA to go through and basically add up all of the applications that have been submitted that are potential obligations of the fund, and we'll kind of know, all right, assuming everybody is qualified, this is the amount of money the fund's going to expend. If there's any excess, we can make decisions on how to utilize that at that time. So basically, it's going to put an end on the application process so we can kind of get a finite number of how many dollars are going to be expended for the fund. Section 8 of Section 1, this talks about the base payment. We talk about increasing from $1,500 to $3,500. Section 8 of Section 1, line 319, 325, amends and removes state law requirement to reduce the total payment of PPP, EIDL, or EIDL Advance Award. This is like we just talked about the state withholding up to 50% on the grant program. Also in Section 8, it further clarifies that the $2,000 direct payment will not be used as a deduction to an amount awarded under the Back to Business Grant Program. In Section 2, lines 373 to 374 provides all changes made to the Act will be retroactive. And it also, in Section 3, it means it will be effective from and after its passage. There's also language in here that will be probably leading on the floor about additional expenses for administration for the program. I believe those are not going to be added to this bill. So that's kind of a rough description. In total, we've got two programs: $2,000 direct payment and the small business grant program. The $2,000 direct payment will add some NAICS codes that were inadvertently left out. In the business grant program, we're increasing the base payment from $1,500 to $3,500, and we're taking away the withholding of 50% of the money eligible if they got PPP. So that's kind of essentially what this bill does.
Thank you, Senator Harkins. Senator Harkins, before you field questions from the members, can you itemize for us the things that you said you would need to bring up as amendments, which I think both of them might be easier just do on the floor and take them all at one time. What are those items that
Well,
they need
one
to
of them is
consider
going
from
to
them?
be the deletion of the administrative costs, the extra administrative costs, I believe, and then also we're going to be adding a NAICS section for the scenic and sightseeing transportation on the water, including charter boats. That one had not made it into the version at the time of printing, so.
Okay. Questions? I think Senator Hill has a question.
Retail bakeries. We had specialty food services, including caterers and bars. It looks like it's in section 4, section 1, I think 118, 120 maybe. I have not. I haven't heard that brought up. These are the ones that had been mentioned before on it. And I don't know if the governor shut down photographers or if. He shut down, I believe he did shut down bars, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, other questions? Senator Hill, you have another question, I'm sorry. Okay. Senator Blackwell. Senator Blackwell, can you speak into the microphone just so everybody can hear you well?
Sorry, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to verify, did you say that we are not going to increase the MDA to 3.6 million?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Delano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I've had a couple of businesses that have called anticipating that $2,000 check to be sent, and I've told them that, hey, there's a backup. We need to give them a little bit more time. Do you know where MDA is with respect to those funds, and at what point in time should we start asking MDA to help us with phone calls that we're receiving from those companies that should have been included?
On the direct payment, that was a DOR deal, and I'll call DOR and try to find out. On the $2,000 direct payment, that was a Department of Revenue program. I'll call them before we get up on the floor and have an answer for you on that.
Senator Wiggins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Real quick, the raise from 1,500 to 3,500, I assume that's going to be retroactive for those who've already received the 1,500. And I guess is NBA putting in a process that they can get whatever 2,000, that additional 2,000? Do you understand my question?
Yes, it's going to authorize them to spend them. They have the money already in the fund. And in section 2, line 373 provides that all changes made to the act will be retroactive. So anybody that already received the base payment of $1,500, if this goes up, they'll get the extra money.
And NBA's working on a process that they can, or I guess they'll just send it
automatically.
Okay.
They should have all the applications already in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Senator Norwood. Okay. Thank you. Any more questions from senators? Senator Turner Ford. Senator Harkins, would you repeat that question since you've got a microphone?
She asked if those expenses were limited to a certain period of time. And no, ma'am. But I think it was past the date of when the state of emergency went into effect. I think it was like the 1st of March is when they started. You had to be in business by that date. There were qualifications that made you eligible for the funds, but I don't think the expenses were for a certain date. The date of the state of emergency was, you had to be in business before that date in order to be qualified. But the expenses you put down, I imagine were in the prior year that you had been in business. You could use those numbers, utility bills, any of that stuff. Is that what you're talking about, the expenses that you had? Yeah, I don't think there was a date on the expenses. I think it was a matter of when you were a business, when you were already in business. You had to be in business before that date, but I'm not aware of the expenses. I'll find out and double check that for you. The base payment is on the back to business grant. The direct payment that is without application is DOR. Yes, ma'am. If they're saying that they are not in good standing at the Secretary of State's office, I would assume you could get a letter of good standing and submit to DOR. Is the NAICS codes? It's whatever they file their taxes, what they filed their taxes on in 18 or 19. That's where they're getting the NAICS codes. So their CPA, ma'am? Yes, ma'am. When you file your taxes with the state, they have your form that has your NAICS code on it, and that's how they've entered that in with your business. So if you filed your taxes with that code section, that NAICS code, that's one of those codes that we listed, then that's how you were predetermined to get that direct payment. That was our understanding. I think that they had found some rules within Treasury that they felt were different, and what we're trying to do is just to clear that up, is to say that the $2,000, we intended for that direct payment to go to those that were shut down by the government, and then they could apply for the Back to Business Grant Program. We didn't intend for the $2,000 to be deducted from the Back to Business Grant Program proceeds they were going to receive. And so what we're doing here is fixing that, is saying that you can't deduct the $2,000 from their Back to Business grant. Yes, ma'am. That's my understanding. I don't think that it has been totally used, is my understanding. I'll double check on that, but I think that there is still money left in the amount, and there's still money available for minority businesses. Now, they had the 21 days to file before everybody else, and there was a pot of money that was set aside for that, but there's still, we're talking, even all the applications that are in today would only total up to about $128 million. And now that we expanded the base pay and the taking back the holdback, it's only going to take it up to like 182. So there's still about $55 million available above that. That's assuming everybody that applied is qualified. So there's not a chance of it running out right now. There's not a threat of that. And anybody that can apply, matter of fact, a majority of the people that did apply, I believe, were minority-owned businesses. No, but I will. You talking about with DOR or not DOR, but MDA?
It's my understanding that applications have been submitted back at the, I guess, when the program launched, and some of them are just receiving responses that your application is being reviewed, and they've been getting that message for weeks.
Okay.
But there has been no action that has been taken.
I have not heard that. Before we get on the floor, I'll make a call and try to find out how the application process is, the screening is going. Thank you.
Other questions of committee members? All right, hearing none, is there a motion?
Title sufficient due.
Motion is title sufficient due pass. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Before we rise and report, based on some of the questions and the information that Senator Harkins needs to get together before that, I would suspect, I see the pro tem just walked in, that we might need about 15 minutes or so before we, I think we're recessed subject to call of the chair, correct? So we may need 15 minutes or so, but anyway, everybody, after we rise and report, can make their way up there, and hopefully we can get on the floor and take this up before too long. So with no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion. Rise and report.
Rise and report.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
About you.